Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at a really weird new Pokemon tool. It's Normalium Z, and it can give a Pokemon a GX attack, even if they're not a GX Pokemon. Now, it's taken a while, to be frank. Because clearly, Z moves in the video game, all special moves you can use once per battle, and GX attacks in the trading card game, all special attacks you can only use one of them during a battle. Yes, of course they were always meant to be analogous. Why has it taken this long to get Z crystals into the game? Especially given that the Sun and Moon era is coming to an end. We are not far away from Sword and Shield being the standard. The fact that we're getting it now is weird, ladies and gentlemen. Incredibly weird, but we have got it. And you know what? That's kinda cool. So what does it do? Well, if it's attached to a Pokemon that has Tackle, and that's the key, it has got to be a Pokemon that's got Tackle, they get this attack. And the attack does 200 damage, and you flip a coin until you get tails, and you do 40 more damage for each heads. So any Pokemon that has the Tackle attack can all of a sudden have a GX attack. And this is a very standard GX attack. We've seen a million like these in the past. It is a GX attack that should get you a big one-hit KO at one point during the game. That's what it is, that's what it does. It's not particularly big, it's not particularly flashy, it's not particularly exciting. It is a one-hit KO at one point during the game. That's what it is, that's what it does. But that's kind of cool, is it not? It means that all of a sudden, you can take a Pokemon that doesn't have some big giant one-hit KO attack and give it a big giant one-hit KO attack. That's awesome, ladies and gentlemen. That is awesome. Now, to be fair, this isn't the first time we've ever had a card, a tool, that gives a Pokemon a new attack. I mean, Power Memory is probably the biggest one in recent memory. Now, Power Memory kind of almost gave a GX-style attack to Zygarde EX. Now, Power Memory is kind of a weird card, but it read, the Zygarde EX that this card is attached to can also use this attack, free energy, 200 damage, discard free energy. Now, it's kind of like a GX attack in that it did huge damage, but obviously it's not a GX attack because it wasn't a once per game thing. But it's not without precedent. But like I've said, it's just incredibly strange that it took this gosh darned long to get Z crystals in the game. And incidentally, I think this is the perfect way to represent Z crystals in the game. We often look at Pokemon and cards and we go, oh, do they look like they're supposed to look? Do they act in the way they're supposed to act? And frankly, this is the perfect way, I believe, to get this into the game. But it's still a bit weird that it took this long. Now, one of the big things here is that you cannot use Choice Band. You're giving up Choice Band, and that's pretty relevant. Because let's take something like a Celebi and Venusaur. Now, Celebi and Venusaur, you're really looking for a one-hit KO. Because they're going to be playing Life Forest Prism Star that heals 60 damage in all special conditions. And they're probably going to be playing a Shaman from Lost Thunder, which heals 20 damage per Shaman per turn. And of course, they're probably going to be playing something like Ace Roller. And that's just going to pick up and heal. So the fact of the matter is, if you don't get a big giant one-hit KO on a Celebi and Venusaur, you're probably not going to be getting a KO. That deck is built specifically to avoid being KO'd. That's what it does. So if you could use Choice Band, you're looking 200 damage, plus Choice Band is 230, one head's 270, get the KO, job's a good un. But you can't use it. So now instead of one head, you need to get two heads. Similarly, if we look at something like a Magikarp and Wailord Tag Team GX, that is another deck. Now, they're probably not going to be healing with all these extra tricks. They're just going to be sitting there, and when they're about to be KO'd, they're going to use Ace Roller or Max Potion. So again, you want to be getting a one-hit KO. With a Choice Band, 2 heads. Without a Choice Band, 3 heads. That makes a heck of a difference, ladies and gentlemen. That makes a heck of a difference. Given that every coin flip is by its very definition a 50-50 proposition, what that means in reality is getting rid of Choice Band means every single time you would get a KO, you now have a 50-50 chance of getting a KO. That is awkward, ladies and gentlemen. That is awkward. But make no mistake about it, this is a huge attack. And honestly, if you're using this, you're probably going to want to look at the Victini from Guardians Rising that lets you reflip. Because if you've got that, then you get to reflip. Now, it's not that simple, right? It's not just you get to reflip everyone. It is you get to reflip all of them or none of them. It's an either-or, ladies and gentlemen. It's an either-or. So, with that out of the way, what Pokemon have actually got tackle? And it tends to be littler Pokemon. So, for instance, if we take someone like Beware, there is no Beware card that currently has the tackle attack. I wish there was. There isn't. What we do have, however, is the Stuffle from Sun and Moon, the base set, which does have tackle. Now, and actually, to be fair, we've also got the Stuffle from Burning Shadows, which has tackle. Not the same card, but they do have the same attack. Now, it has to be tackle. So, if we take my boy Mamoswine's got forceful tackle. It's not good enough, ladies and gentlemen. Forceful tackle isn't tackle. I'd love it if it did, but it didn't. But one of the things we have here is an Inkay that has tackle. Bearing in mind that Malamar sees an awful lot of play and can accelerate energy to itself. So now all of a sudden you can put this on Malamar, and now Malamar's getting your GX attack. And Malamar's often played with stuff like Giratina in a non-GX deck, meaning you're not relying on having a particular GX attack, which means this would fit very, very nicely in here indeed. But the thing to remember here is that you ignoring the attack cost on the regular attacks, it's just 4 colorless energy. So something like a Jangmo-O, you can just whack 4 energy on and do 200 damage. That is absolutely a possibility here. And that leads us to the other thing we really need to mention here. This is colorless energy. That is extremely important, because it means that any deck that accelerates energy can go ahead and use this. I've already mentioned Malamar, and honestly one of my favourite uses for this is Malamar, because you need to play Inkay anyway, so you might as well just go ahead and play an Inkay that's got tackle, so that you can go rocking with this. It's not going to stop you playing a Stuffle or something like that, but you want to be evolving into Malamar anyway, so playing an Inkay or 2 really isn't a huge problem, and then you're rolling with this. But you could play it in fire decks with Welder, attach 2 fire energy to one of your Pokemon, draw 3 cards. Or you could play it in Magnezone decks, for argument's sake. They just let you attach, well, it depends which Magnezone you're playing, either Lightning or Metal Energy, depending on whether you're going Forbidden Light Magnezone or Ultra Prism Magnezone. The point is, you can do this. Now, before we finish, there is a very, very important thing we need to look at in terms of ruling here. And that is, the wording is very specific. The wording says Pokemon with the attack tackle. So we have 2 cards at the moment, those being Memory Energy and Shining Celebi, that let you use the attacks of pre-evolutions. So a Malamar with either a Memory Energy attached or a Shining Celebi on the bench would be able to use the attack tackle, as long as it evolved to the Inkay that had tackle. But it doesn't have the attack tackle. This is the same ruling we had with the Persian and A Good Day to Be a Cat, in terms of making sure that you weren't able to have the free attacks. Malamar could use tackle, but it doesn't have tackle, so it has to be Inkay doing the attack, not Malamar. But it's not going to stop you just putting 1 or 2 Inkay in the deck so that they can use this GX attack, and I think that's a good thing to do. We've gotten to a weird point now where any Pokemon that's got the attack tackle instantly becomes like 1,000,000 times better because it can use Normalium Z. And as it stands at the moment, we're not exactly overflowing with great options for this. It's mostly evolving Pokemon. But what we do have is a whole bunch of potential. Any deck, especially ones that accelerate energy, can now take in a Stuffle and one of these, and now all of a sudden, they can just use this GX attack. That's huge, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely huge. Those Pokemon just got a lot better. It doesn't combo with Memory Energy or Shining Celebi, and you probably need some energy acceleration. You've got double colorless energy, which will work with this, but you still probably need some energy acceleration as well, because 2 double colorless is a lot, and it might not always do enough damage. It might not always be good enough. But having said that, if you've got a really good GX attack you want to use, then use it. This is for decks that don't, so that they can have an option. I'm giving it 4 Wassies. I love this card. And I think we're going to be getting more Z Crystals in the future, and I'm a little bit excited to see what they do. So you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen, do make sure you're subscribed so when these come out, you can find out all about them. For now, ladies and gentlemen, do make sure you tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about other games. Games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.